everything. Not just quiet, but that kind of silence that stings. When you stop showing up, when your name doesn't light up her phone anymore, something shifts inside her. Because the truth is, when you disappear, you don't vanish. You echo. And that echo, it starts haunting her in ways she never expected. What she once took for granted now keeps her up at night. What she thought she controlled suddenly controls her. See, your silence, it's not emptiness, it's energy, it's power. And today I'll show you exactly what she feels when you simply disappear. Not as punishment, not as a game, but as a reflection of your worth. Stay till the end, because once you understand how this works, you'll never chase validation again. Let's begin. 1. Confusion. Wait, what just happened? When you suddenly disappear, it doesn't just leave a space in her day. It creates noise in her mind. Confusion. A quiet panic that grows with every unanswered question. She's not angry at first, she's curious, because in her world, communication is connection. Women build emotional threads through conversations, glances, and daily check-ins. So when you stop calling, texting, or showing up, she feels like a thread has been cut mid-sentence. She starts wondering if she missed something. Was there a moment, a signal? Did you seem distant? Did she say something wrong? That confusion becomes emotional static, replaying scenes in her head like she's trying to solve a mystery that doesn't exist. And the more she thinks, the deeper she spirals. Because the human mind hates unfinished stories, and you just left her with one. That's the thing most men don't realize. Silence isn't empty. It's full of her thoughts. It fills her with questions she can't answer. It forces her to look inward. And when she can't find a clear reason, she turns that spotlight onto herself. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe he's bored of me. Maybe I should have tried harder. What's crazy is you didn't say a word, yet your absence is shaping her self-perception more than your presence ever did. That's the power of confusion. It rewires how she sees you and how she sees herself. You become the unknown, and people are always drawn to the unknown, especially women. They're emotional detectives, and your silence is the case they can't close. And here's where psychology kicks in. The more unpredictable someone is, the more the brain assigns importance to them. Her subconscious mind starts believing you matter more, because her mind is spending energy trying to understand you. That's why she checks her phone more than usual. That's why your last message suddenly feels like a clue. You've taken her out of control, and that's something her emotions don't like. See, women crave emotional certainty. They want to know. But your disappearance shakes that stability, and instead of letting go, she holds on tighter, mentally and emotionally. That confusion becomes curiosity, and curiosity always turns into emotional attachment. Your silence didn't make her forget you. It made her obsessed with finding meaning. You went quiet, but in her head, you're louder than ever. 2. Regret. Did I push him away? Once confusion settles in, something heavier takes its place. Regret. It's the emotional hangover that follows when she starts believing she caused your silence. You see, regret doesn't come from loss itself. It comes from realizing you might have been the reason for it. She replays old texts, screenshots, memories, that sarcastic comment she made, that one day she ignored your call because she wanted to seem busy. It all starts to sting now, because when you disappear, she finally notices the things she said and did that didn't sit right. And the worst part, she can't fix any of it. Women don't handle emotional guilt lightly. It eats at them quietly. So even if she's pretending to be fine, scrolling through your socials just to see if you've moved on, she's not at peace. There's a voice inside whispering, maybe it's my fault. And that voice...
WordPress.com is professional WordPress hosting, built to scale, with no limits, slowdowns, or
keeps her awake. Regret makes her remember the good moments differently too. The small things she overlooked before, your patience, your attention, your consistency, suddenly seem rare. Now she compares every guy who tries to talk to her to you. None of them measure up, because they're not mysterious. They're not silent. They're not you. It's funny how distance changes perspective. When you were around, she had options. She had control. But once you disappeared, she lost that feeling. And that's when the regret turns emotional. It becomes a craving, not for your messages, but for how she felt when she had your attention. Regret turns into longing for that version of herself who was wanted by you. This is why your silence hurts more than your words ever could. Words can be argued. Silence can't. It's absolute. It's final. It forces her to face herself. And if she has a strong ego, that's when the internal war starts. Part of her says, he left because I pushed him. Another part says, no, I didn't care anyway. That emotional split is torment, and that's what keeps you living rent-free in her head. So while she may act confident online, posting pictures or quotes that scream, I'm fine, deep inside, she's questioning her every move. That's the silent punishment of regret. It makes her realize what she lost long before she admits it. Regret isn't loud, it's quiet. It shows up when she's alone, when she scrolls past your name, when she wishes she could start over, just one last conversation, one last chance. But that chance doesn't come, and that's what makes your disappearance unforgettable. Third, obsession. What is he doing now? Once regret creeps in, it plants a seed that quickly grows into obsession. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts subtly. A passing thought about you during her lunch break, checking if you've viewed her story, or wondering what your silence really means. But that small thought doesn't fade. It multiplies, because the more she tries not to think about you, the louder your absence becomes. See, attention fades with time, but silence lingers. It's like a song stuck in her head that never finishes. She scrolls through her phone, pretending to look for something else, but really, she's searching for traces of you, your last message, that inside joke, the photo she almost deleted but couldn't. It's not nostalgia. It's her mind trying to find emotional closure, but you took that away when you vanished, so her brain starts looping endlessly. The psychology here is simple but powerful. The human brain hates open loops. When something ends without explanation, it seeks resolution. Every time she remembers you, her brain releases a little bit of dopamine mixed with anxiety, the same chemical that fuels addiction. She becomes emotionally addicted to the idea of you, not who you were, but what you represented, a puzzle she couldn't solve. And that's what obsession really is. It's not love, it's not hate, it's unfinished emotion. It's her mind desperately trying to make sense of silence that doesn't make sense. That's why she checks your page, even when she swears she's moved on. That's why her friends catch her scrolling back to your pictures. She's not looking for you. She's looking for proof that she mattered. The more mysterious you become, the more her imagination fills in the blanks. Maybe you're with someone new, maybe you stopped caring, maybe you never felt the same. Every version she creates keeps her emotionally hooked, because each story leaves her more unsettled. That's the irony of obsession. The thing she's trying to control ends up controlling her. This is where your silence turns from confusion into influence. You're not chasing, you're not explaining, yet you dominate her thoughts. She feels your absence in the middle of her day, in songs, in moments she can't escape. You've gone quiet, but you've become unforgettable. And if you stay silent long enough, obsession slowly turns into something heavier, something that hurts. 4. Emotional pain. I thought he cared. At first she tries to hide it, pretends she's fine, laughs louder with her friends, posts happier pictures, but late at night, when the noise dies down, that's when it hits, the emotional pain, that dull ache in her chest that she can't explain. It's not just sadness, it's loss mixed with confusion, a deep discomfort that eats away at her ego and pride. You see, when you disappear, you're not just gone, you're missing from places that used to feel familiar. That morning message, that reassurance, that silent comfort of knowing you were there. And now that safety is gone and replaced by silence. It's emotional withdrawal. And for a woman who's emotionally invested, that pain hits hard. She'll act tough at first, of course, say things like, he's not worth it, or I'm better off. But psychology says when someone feels emotionally rejected, the pain centers in the brain light up in the same way physical pain does. It literally hurts. That's why she feels restless, why her stomach drops when she sees your name, why she feels angry one moment and empty the next. And here's the cruel truth. She doesn't miss you entirely. She misses the version of herself that existed when you cared, the validation, the warmth, the sense of being desired. When that vanishes, she feels like she lost part of her identity, and that emotional pain forces her to reflect, not on what you did, but on who she's become in your absence. Pain also strips away the masks. The confident, self-assured version of her fades. What's left is vulnerability, and that's when she starts to wonder, what if I pushed away someone who actually cared? That thought is sharp. It cuts deep, because now every memory of you carries guilt, and every quiet moment feels like punishment. This emotional discomfort doesn't fade easily. It lingers. It softens her tone, changes her perspective. Pain humbles her, and in many ways, that pain becomes the bridge to her next emotional stage as vulnerability, the moment where the walls come down, even if she tries to act like they haven't. 5. Vulnerability. Maybe I made a mistake. This is when her pride starts losing the fight. After days, maybe weeks of silence, the tension becomes unbearable. That's when she sends a small, subtle message. Nothing too obvious. A meme, this reminded me of you, or a casual, hey. It looks harmless, but emotionally it's loaded. It's her way of saying, are you still there? That's the thing about vulnerability. It never announces itself. It hides behind humor, behind old memories, behind, I was just checking in. But what she's really doing is testing the emotional temperature. She wants to know if she still has a place in your mind. Your silence made her feel powerless. It forced her into emotional stillness, something she rarely experiences. Because deep down, women aren't afraid of losing men. They're afraid of losing control of how they're perceived. And your disappearance stripped that from her. So when she reaches out, it's not out of love. It's out of fear, fear of invisibility. But here's where the paradox lies. Vulnerability is also healing. It's the part where her ego cracks open and she reconnects with her emotions. She starts to see how her own behavior contributed to the silence, how maybe, just maybe, she took your consistency for granted. That realization softens her. It makes her human again. Still, vulnerability comes with risk because once she shows it, she feels exposed. And that triggers the next emotional defense, the rebuilding of her ego. When she feels too raw, too uncovered, she puts the mask back on. And that mask says, I don't need him.
Once it's quiet.
But that's the lie she tells herself, a necessary lie to protect her heart. 6. Ego defense. I don't need him anyway. Right after vulnerability comes resistance. She starts pretending again, harder this time. You'll see it in her captions, her stories, her sudden glow-up posts. I'm thriving. New beginnings. It's not healing, it's performance. She's convincing herself she's unbothered because the truth feels too heavy. This is the ego's natural defense. When reality stings, the mind creates distance from pain by denying it. She tells herself you never mattered that much. She blames you, rewrites the story in her head so she can feel powerful again. But it's temporary. Ego can't heal what it hides. Because at night, when she takes off the makeup and the mask, she knows the truth. Your silence got to her. She can act strong online, but emotions don't lie. She still checks your name, still flinches when she hears your favorite song. She still wonders if you think about her. That's not indifference. That's internal conflict. Here's what's ironic. The more she tries to show she doesn't care, the more she proves she does. Every action screams overcompensation, and deep inside she knows it, but she won't admit it. Not yet, because admitting it means surrendering power, and ego is allergic to surrender. That's why this stage is the loudest and the loneliest. She's screaming confidence, but her heart is whispering confusion. She's trying to rewrite the story, but your silence keeps rewriting it for her. And when the mask starts to slip, fear takes over. The fear of replacement. 7. Fear of replacement. Has he moved on already? This one hits differently. It's not about missing you. It's about losing the spot she thought was hers. She starts wondering if there's someone else, another woman, another smile, another energy that's replaced hers. That thought burns deeper than heartbreak because it attacks her ego and her heart at once. When a woman believes she's being replaced, her instincts switch to survival mode. That's when she resurfaces, and the random hey, the sudden reaction to your story, the unexpected compliment. It's not coincidence. It's fear, because disappearing creates a vacuum, and when she senses someone else might fill that space, it triggers panic. She'll scroll through your page searching for signs, a new girl's comment, a new photo. Even the slightest change in your behavior will drive her thoughts wild. She's not just curious now, she's competing, but not with the new person, with her own insecurities. Psychologically, this fear of replacement comes from loss of validation. She used to be the one who knew your schedule, your moods, your little habits. Now she knows nothing. That emotional access was power, and you took it away. So she tries to get it back any way she can, by being seen again, by making you notice her, by pretending she's happy without you, just enough to make you look twice. But every action she takes is rooted in fear, not confidence. This stage can last weeks or months. It's emotional chaos dressed up as control. And when all the pretending wears off, what's left is pure longing, the final stage. 8. Longing. I miss him. I want him back. By now, everything else has burned away. The confusion, the regret, the ego, the games. What remains is longing, raw, unfiltered desire for what's gone. This isn't the kind of longing that fades with time. It's the kind that stays buried in quiet moments. When she's driving home alone, when a song hits too close, when she passes a place that still smells like you. It's a haunting, not just an emotion. She misses your presence, not because she's lonely, but because you became a mirror. In your silence, she saw her reflection, the things she didn't handle right, the affection she didn't appreciate, the energy she took for granted. Now she understands what you were giving when she wasn't looking. Longing is powerful because it humbles her. It strips away everything fake and leaves only truth. And that truth is simple. Your silence made her feel your value in a way your words never could. She realizes that what she thought was distance was actually dignity. You didn't disappear to punish her. You withdrew to protect your peace. And that kind of power is unforgettable. If she ever reaches out again, it won't be from pride. It'll be from pain mixed with respect. Because disappearing didn't make you weak. It made you mysterious. It made you matter. That's the paradox of silence. When used with intention, it speaks the loudest. It tells her everything she didn't want to hear, that she wasn't as in control as she thought, and that your absence hurts more than your presence ever did. So, if you've gone silent, understand this. She feels it, every second of it, and maybe one day she'll admit it. But by then, you'll already know your worth doesn't come from who chases you, but from who feels your silence after you're gone. So the next time you pull back, don't see it as losing connection. See it as gaining clarity. Your silence speaks when words can't. And the man who learns to be still is the one she never forgets. If this video helped you see relationships differently, hit that subscribe button. Because here on Brainify On, we talk about the deeper layers, where psychology meets self-worth. Stay grounded. Stay quiet, stay powerful. Until next time.
Crush or run, not.
Every guy thinks he knows what makes women work, but very few really get the weak spots in their defense. The fact is, women have flaws just like guys do. And if you can spot them, you stop playing the game without seeing clearly. This isn't about tricking or hating, it's about knowing. A guy who gets the soft points in female thinking and actions naturally acts differently. He stops getting tricked, stops worrying too much, and starts leading with sureness. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is where we cut through the mess and talk about what really works in the real world. And today we're dealing with something most people are too afraid to say out loud. The 7 main flaws that women try to hide, but every guy should know. Now, here's the debated part. Society always tells you women are perfect, without faults, and always in charge. But if that were true, why do so many women test guys, seek approval, or break down when a guy doesn't give them notice? The reality is those flaws are there, and once you see them, you can never forget them. You'll understand why she behaves the way she does, why she says one thing but does another, and why guys who spot these facts end up holding the power in relationships. This isn't about blaming women, it's about giving you knowledge. Because a guy who ignores these flaws will always fall into the same traps, putting in too much, getting tricked, or losing himself just to keep her happy. But the guy who gets them, he stays calm, focused, and in charge. So, get ready, because what I'm about to share might change the way you see women forever. Women want approval more than love. 1, women want approval more than love. Here's the part most guys get wrong. They believe women are out there looking for true love above everything else. They think the fairy tale is her main goal. that the guy who offers endless care automatically wins her over. But that's not the full fact. What women really want, what they can't live without, is approval. That ongoing reminder that they're desired, pretty, wanted, and above all, important. Think about it. A woman can be in a serious relationship with a guy who truly loves her. Yet, she still posts showing pictures online, still accepts praise from strangers, still checks if other guys are looking at her. Why? Because love is not the fuel that keeps her going. Approval is. It's the small bits of agreement that reassure her she still has choices, that she still holds power in the dating world. Now, here's why this matters for you as a guy. When you understand that women want approval more than love, you stop putting in too much in trying to prove yourself through loving actions, flowers, long messages, constant notice. Those things don't secure her loyalty. In fact, the more approval you give out easily, the less valuable it becomes to her. She begins to expect it, and eventually she stops respecting it. Guys who don't get this end up tiring themselves emotionally. They think if I just love her more, she'll stay. Meanwhile, the guy who hardly gives her notice often becomes the one she thinks about a lot. Why? Because his approval is rare, not predictable, and therefore much more strong. This doesn't mean you should never praise a woman or show care. It means you must be careful. Your notice has to have weight. When you give it rarely, it feels earned. It keeps her interested, keeps her wondering, and keeps her respecting you. But if you give it out all the time, you take away its value, and she starts to see you as weak, needy, and easy to replace. Society won't say this because it sounds tough. Women will even deny it, saying they only want real love. But actions show the truth louder than words. Watch closely, and you'll see that approval is the thing they work with. Love might be the story they tell themselves, but approval is the reality they live by. The guy who gets this doesn't become angry. He becomes smart. He realizes that controlling his approval is one of the strongest ways to hold power in any talk. Because the moment she sees you as the guy whose agreement is not easily won, you become the guy she cannot ignore. Notice is their real habit. 2. Notice is their real habit. If you want to truly get female behavior, you have to look beyond what they say and pay notice to what they chase. Women will tell you they want a good guy, a steady relationship, someone who treats them right. But watch their actions closely, and you'll see a different fact. The real habit isn't love. It isn't promise. It's notice. Notice is the air of the female ego. Without it, she feels unseen, weak, and not important. This is why you'll see women stuck to their phones, scrolling forever for likes and comments. It's why a woman in a relationship might still dress in ways made to attract eyes, or why she answers messages from guys she has no plan to meet. She doesn't need these guys in her life, but she lives off the notice they give. Here's where most guys get it wrong. They think that if they give her more notice than anyone else, she'll finally be happy. But notice works like a drug. The more she gets, the more she wants. She builds up resistance, and your constant notice starts to feel normal, even dull. That's why she can get bored in a relationship with a guy who gives her everything, yet stay hooked on the excitement of notice from strangers. Now, this doesn't mean women are bad. It just means you need to get the game. If notice is her habit, then you can't be the guy who feeds it without end. The guy who covers her in praise, texts her all day, and never leaves room for mystery ends up lowering his value. His notice becomes cheap. She doesn't want it anymore because she knows she can have it whenever she wants. The guys who stand out are the ones who treat their notice like a rare thing. They don't approve every move she makes. They don't hurry to reply to every text, and they don't put her on a high place. Their notice feels rare, almost like a reward. And because it's rare, it starts the very habit women can't escape. The wish to earn it. Think of it like this. A woman might get 100 likes from strangers online, but the one guy she actually wants notice from is the one who doesn't give it so easily. That's the guy she thinks about. That's the guy who keeps her wondering. That's the guy she feels she hasn't won yet, and her habit pushes her to try harder. Guys, this is where you change the script. Stop giving out notice like it's endless because it isn't valued that way. Make it matter. Give it when she deserves it, when she's earned it, when it really means something. That's how you control the habit rather than being used by it. Because once you master this, you're no longer just another guy giving her what every man already gives. You're the one she can't stop chasing. Freedom is only a show. 3, freedom is only a show. We live in a time where women proudly say, I don't need a guy. You hear it in songs, see it on social media, and watch it play out in modern dating. At first look, it seems real. Women talk about freedom, being free, and living life on their own rules. But if you look deeper, you'll see that much of this freedom is a show, an act made more for looks than reality. Here's what most guys don't realize. Women are social people who do well on connection, help, and safety. The idea that she can live without guys sounds strong on the surface, but watch her behavior closely. Even the most loud free woman still wants male notice, still wants emotional link, and still looks for someone to lead when life gets hard. Freedom is often more about image than truth. Think about it. If women were truly on their own in the way they claim, why do so many still put huge amounts of energy in attracting male notice, whether through looks, social media, or life choices? Why do so many proudly say they don't need a guy, but still want the steadiness of a relationship when the lights go out? Because the show of freedom is about showing strength, while deep down, the natural wish for company, protection, and leadership never goes away. Now here's the part guys need to get. If you take her show at face value and try to compete with it, if you believe she wants you to give in, play smaller, or let her lead, you will lose her respect. Because while she may talk about freedom, her actions often prove she still wants a guy who stands firm in his role. The show ends the moment she faces real problems. When life gets tough, when bills add up, when she feels unsafe, she naturally looks for male strength to hold her. This doesn't mean you should ignore her words or make fun of her freedom. What it does mean is that you shouldn't let it scare you or make you doubt your value. Many guys make themselves smaller because they think modern women don't want old-style masculinity anymore. The fact is, they still do. Freedom is often the mask, but needing a strong, reliable guy is still the reality when it matters. As a guy, you have to see through the act without being angry. Respect her ability to handle herself, but don't believe for a second that it replaces her wish for a strong guy in her life. Your role isn't to compete with her freedom, it's to stand solid in your masculinity so that when the show fades, you're the guy she naturally turns to. Text her good morning. John thinks, and when she feels it, everything shifts. Here's the problem. Most guys handle this change wrong. Instead of staying calm and steady, they either overreact or fall under the pressure. For example, if a woman notices you're not giving her the same energy and she says, "You don't care about me anymore," the average guy panics. He rushes to comfort her with desperate words like, No, I love you more than anything. I promise I'll try harder." He thinks he's fixing the issue, but in reality, he just gave her the power. His eagerness to prove himself shows that she controls his behavior. Another mistake guys make is using holding back as a game, ignoring her calls, acting cold, or trying to trick her feelings. This might work for a short time, but eventually it fails. A woman can sense when your distance is fake, and instead of respecting you, she'll dislike you. So what's the right way? It starts with sureness. If she calls you out for not showing as much interest, don't panic and explain too much. Keep it simple and calm. You could say, "I've just been focused on my priorities. It doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I have things I need to handle." That shows strength. It tells her who always follows, begs, or tries to win them over. It's a tough reality most guys don't want to accept. The harder you chase, the further she goes. Let's break this down. Women are naturally made to value what they earn, not what's given to them. When a guy chases without end, he changes the script. Instead of her working for his approval, he's the one working for hers. She might accept the notice, even use it to boost her ego, but respect quietly goes away. She can't admire the guy who makes her the center of his world because it tells her one thing: he has no other choices. Picture this. A guy texts her every morning, checks in all day, plans all the dates, and always asks if she's happy. At first it looks nice, but soon it becomes too much. She starts to wonder, why does he try so hard? Doesn't he have anything else going on? His chasing doesn't make her feel special, it makes him look desperate. And desperation is the enemy of attraction. Now, compare that with the guy who doesn't chase. He shows interest, but he doesn't overdo it. He's focused on his purpose, his goals, his growth. He's not begging for her time, she's competing for his. That guy starts a completely different reaction. Instead of taking him for granted, she respects him. Instead of pulling away, she puts in more. The energy changes because she feels she has to earn him. This is the secret most guys never learn.
When your cold symptoms get worse at night, trust Vicks Vapor Rub Easy Applicator. Simply twist and apply to help relieve your sore throat, blocked nose, and cough due to cold. So you can sleep like a baby. Vicks Vapor Rub Easy Applicator.
Save up to 30% during G-Adventure's
Vegas!
sale of the year today. Let me tell you something most men don't want to hear. Women don't care what you do for them.
You can spend money, give her attention, stay loyal, do everything right, and she can still lose interest. She can appreciate you and still walk away. Why? Because women aren't loyal to effort. We're loyal to emotion. We don't stay where we're most helped. We stay where we're most moved. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth. No one tells men. You've been taught that if you treat a woman well, she'll love you forever. But in reality, women don't bond through logic. We bond through feeling. If you give her everything, but she doesn't feel emotionally connected, respected, or desired, she'll start to detach quietly. Here's what's real. A woman will stay with a man who makes her feel alive, even if he gives her less materially, because her emotions are the glue, not your effort. She doesn't remember the dates or the gifts. She remembers the energy she felt when she was around you, and that's what this video is about. Understanding what women are truly loyal to. Once you see it from a woman's perspective, you'll stop chasing loyalty through effort and start inspiring it through presence. Hey, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this is where we break down how women actually think and what really draws us to certain men. If you've ever wondered why doing everything right still didn't make her stay, keep watching. I'm going to show you exactly what triggers real emotional loyalty. And it's not what most men think. 1. She's loyal to the way you make her feel. Let's start with something every man needs to understand. A woman's loyalty isn't built on logic. It's built on emotion. We don't decide who to love or stay loyal to by thinking, he does this much for me. We stay where we feel the most alive, secure, and emotionally connected. You could be the most giving, reliable, and kind man, and she might still drift. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you didn't make her feel something real. Women crave emotional movement, curiosity, attraction, admiration, excitement. When that fades, her emotional connection fades with it. Picture this. A woman dates 2 men. One is consistent, thoughtful, and always available. The other is confident, unpredictable, and a little mysterious. She appreciates the first one, but thinks about the second one all day. Why? Because one gives her comfort, while the other makes her feel. And in a woman's world, feelings win every time. When we're emotionally charged, we invest. When we feel bored, we detach, even if the man is perfect on paper. That's why so many women stay loyal to men who make them feel emotionally challenged, even when those men don't do much. It's not the gifts or effort that hold our loyalty. It's the energy we feel when we're around you. So stop thinking loyalty comes from what you give her. It comes from who you are when you're with her. Your tone, your presence, your confidence, those things trigger her emotions. When she feels something deep around you, she connects to you, not what you do. The real secret is this. Women aren't loyal to men who make their lives easier. We're loyal to men who make us feel something unforgettable. 2. Effort doesn't create emotion. Here's where most men get it wrong. You believe effort equals love. You think if you give her more attention, buy her gifts, or solve her problems, she'll see how much you care and love you more. But women don't respond to effort alone. We respond to the emotion behind it. You can do everything for a woman and still make her feel nothing. Because when your effort comes from insecurity, when you're doing it to prove your worth, we feel that. It doesn't come across as love, it comes across as neediness. Women want to feel your strength, not your desperation. We're drawn to men who can give, but also hold back. A man who's generous without losing his self-respect. When you overdo it, constantly checking on her, pleasing her, or putting her above everything, it doesn't feel romantic. It feels like pressure. You have to understand this. Women are emotional translators. We feel the intention behind your actions. If you give from confidence, we're drawn in. If you give from fear, we pull away. So stop trying to earn emotion through doing. Connection isn't something you build by over-delivering. It's something you create by being emotionally aware and calm in your presence. When your effort comes from strength, it inspires emotion. When it comes from weakness, it kills it. 3. Respect is the real anchor. A woman can love you and still leave you, but she'll never stay loyal to a man she doesn't respect. Respect is the foundation of attraction. It's what makes us see you as a man worth following, trusting, and staying loyal to. When we respect you, we listen differently. We value your opinions. We think before we speak, and we treat your time with care. But when respect fades, everything else goes with it. Attraction, loyalty, even the emotional bond. You don't earn respect by doing everything she wants. You earn it by holding your ground, by not letting your emotions dictate your reactions, by walking away from disrespect calmly instead of trying to argue your worth. That's when a woman's mind shifts. She might test you, but when she sees you won't break, she feels a deep sense of admiration. And that's the beginning of real loyalty. Respect builds when a man has self-control, when he can show emotion without becoming emotional, when he can care deeply without begging for attention. 6. She mirrors your energy, not your words. Women don't really respond to what you say. They respond to what you project. You can tell her you're confident, calm, or independent all day long, but if your energy says otherwise, she'll believe that instead, because women are emotional receivers. We feel energy before we understand it. That's why you can say all the right things, but if your tone, body language, or presence feels off, she'll sense it instantly. If you say you don't care that she's distant, but your behavior changes and you start over-texting, over-checking, or trying to get a reaction, she feels your insecurity, not your words. Women mirror what they feel, not what they hear. So if your energy is anxious, she'll feel uneasy. If your energy is grounded, she'll relax. If your vibe is desperate or clingy, she'll start to pull away. Not because she's cruel, but because the emotional tone you're setting doesn't feel safe or attractive to her. Think about it like this. When you're calm, confident, and emotionally stable, your energy tells her, "I've got me, and I don't need you to complete me." That energy allows her to trust you without words. It's what makes her soften, open up, and start to mirror that same stability back. But if your energy says, "I need you to validate me," she unconsciously mirrors that neediness through distance, coldness, or inconsistency. Here's what most men get wrong. They focus on the techniques, what to say, how to act, how to respond. But women pick up on emotional truth faster than logic. You can't act confident. You have to feel confident. You can't pretend to be indifferent. You have to be grounded enough that her behavior doesn't shake your center. That's why women often test men, not to manipulate, but to feel their emotional temperature. She wants to see if your words match your energy. Do you say you're done, but still come running when she pulls away? Do you say you're confident, but crumble when she gets distant? Those little moments tell her everything about your foundation. If your energy stays consistent, calm, masculine, and unbothered, she mirrors that peace. Suddenly she feels drawn back in. She starts chasing you, not because of what you said, but because your energy felt trustworthy again. So stop obsessing over saying the right things. Focus on being the right energy. Answer some. With a man she can respect. Because deep down, she wants to follow his energy, not his effort. Think about it. The men women stay loyal to aren't the ones who did the most. They're the ones who had the strongest emotional frame, the ones who didn't chase, who didn't settle for being half chosen, who didn't compete for affection. They stood firm in the truth that loyalty is something that flows both ways or not at all. Stop trying to earn her loyalty. Start embodying the kind of man who attracts it. Be consistent, but not desperate. Be giving, but not self-sacrificing. Be available, but not at the cost of your self-respect, because the moment you realize that loyalty must be freely given, not fought for, you'll stop chasing women who don't see your value and start attracting women who already do. And that's the shift that separates the man she uses from the man she never forgets. Let me leave you with this. Women don't stay loyal to what you do for them. They stay loyal to how you make them feel about you, not through gifts, attention, or endless effort, but through your energy, through the sense of calm, direction, and certainty that only a grounded man can give. That's what she trusts. That's what she follows. If you take nothing else from this, remember this one truth. A woman's loyalty is emotional, but it's not emotional the way men think. She doesn't stay because she's comfortable. She stays because she believes in you. Because when she looks at you, she feels safe, excited, and proud of the man standing.
After watching this, your perspective on women will change. Most men don't realize this, but the woman sitting across from you at dinner tonight has almost nothing in common with the woman your grandfather married. Not just culturally or technologically. I'm talking about fundamental behavioral patterns, expectations, and capabilities. The software has been completely rewritten, but most men are still running compatibility mode from 1955. Let me show you what's actually happening and why your frustration isn't imaginary. You're not crazy, you're just awake. Here's a simple test that'll prove my point. Ask any woman under 40 to make a meal from scratch without looking at her phone. Not a gourmet meal, just basic chicken, rice, vegetables. Watch what happens. Panic. I don't know how. That's not my thing. Now ask her about her expectations for a man. 6 figures, 6 feet, emotional availability, leadership, provision, protection. The imbalance isn't subtle anymore. It's grotesque. It's observable everywhere. Social media convinced every woman she's a queen deserving of worship just for existing. Not for being exceptional, not for contributing value, just for being. They've been told they're prizes to be won, not partners to build. The decline in traditional traits isn't about wanting women barefoot in kitchens. It's about basic adult competence disappearing while expectations skyrocket. My grandfather's generation? Those women could manage households, raise children, stretch budgets, create meals from nothing. Today, many can't boil water but expect you to be Gordon Ramsay, their therapist, and Warren Buffett combined. I counseled a successful businessman recently. His girlfriend of 2 years couldn't cook, wouldn't clean, had no maternal instincts, contributed nothing financially. But she had a detailed list of what he wasn't providing emotionally. She literally brought nothing to the table except complaints about the table. When he pointed this out, she called him toxic and stuck in the past. This rising sense of entitlement with the result. Women who genuinely believe their presence alone is sufficient contribution to a relationship. A client showed me his ex's dating profile after their breakup. She listed her requirements. Over 6 feet 2 inches, makes $150,000 plus, owns property, no kids, willing to travel. Her offerings: good vibes and sarcasm. She's 35, in debt, can't cook, has 2 kids from different fathers. But in her mind, she's the catch. This isn't delusional confidence. It's societal programming gone haywire. Men today face an impossible choice. Adjust standards, accept reality, or stay alone. You can raise your standards, but good luck finding someone who meets them. You can lower them, but how low can you go before you're basically dating a dependent teenager? Or you can accept reality and strategically navigate it, which is what I recommend, though it's not without costs. The emotional volatility in modern relationships is exhausting. Previous generations of women had emotional regulation. They understood that feelings weren't facts. Now, every emotion is valid. Every mood must be accommodated. Every feeling requires immediate attention. You're not dating a partner. You're managing a permanent emotional crisis that considers stability boring.
I watched a couple at a restaurant last week. She was upset because he was too quiet. He was quiet because she'd been angry about something different an hour earlier. She created the problem, blamed him for reacting to it, then got more upset when he pointed out the pattern. This circular emotional chaos is now considered normal relationship dynamics. The strategic expectation management approach is survival mode for modern men. You learn to expect nothing to avoid disappointment. Assume she won't cook, won't clean, won't contribute. Then occasionally being wrong becomes a pleasant surprise rather than constantly being disappointed by unmet reasonable expectations. It's psychological self-defense. But here's the danger. When you lower expectations too far, you enable incompetence. The client started doing everything himself because asking his wife to contribute led to fights. 5 years later, she literally couldn't function as an adult. He'd created a grown child, not a partner. When he finally demanded change, she left him for being controlling. The accountability and responsibility gap is massive. Modern women have been taught that expecting anything from them is oppression. Cook dinner, sexist. Clean the house you both live in, patriarchy, contribute financially, not their job. But expecting men to do everything? That's just knowing your worth. The core challenge isn't getting them to contribute. It's getting them to see that contribution is part of adult relationships. They've been programmed to believe relationships are about what they receive, not what they give. The concept of reciprocal value exchange has been deleted from their operating system. I see the long-term risks of lowered expectations constantly. Men who've accepted bare minimum for so long, they've forgotten what a real partnership looks like. Most men, if honest, would admit their relationships are net negatives. They give more than they get, always. The masculine burden has increased while feminine contribution decreased. You're still expected to provide, protect, lead, initiate, plan, fix, carry, support. But what's the reciprocal expectation? Don't be toxic. That's it. The entire female contribution has been reduced to just showing up and not being actively hostile. I counsel men whose wives contribute nothing, literally nothing, yet still complain about inequality. They don't work, don't cook, don't clean, kids are in school, but somehow they're still oppressed victims of patriarchy. The mental gymnastics required to maintain this narrative while living entirely off male labor is Olympic level. The awareness gap between what men experience and what society acknowledges is massive. Every man knows modern women aren't what previous generations were, but saying it out loud is heresy. You're supposed to pretend the emperor has clothes while freezing to death. The gaslighting is institutional. The biological reality hasn't changed even though behavior has. Men are still attracted to femininity, nurturing, supportiveness. Women are still attracted to strength, resources, protection. But modern programming tells women to suppress their nature while maintaining their preferences. They want traditional men while refusing to be traditional women. A client's wife gained 80 pounds, stopped cooking, stopped working, stopped being intimate. When he suggested changes, she accused him of not loving her unconditionally. But her love was completely conditional, on his income, his patience, his acceptance of her deterioration. Social program.
The moment you stop brushing, many toothpaste stop fighting bacteria, and then problems start. But Oral-B is different. Unlike many toothpastes, Oral-B keeps shielding teeth in between brushing. So you start with a healthy clean and end with a healthy clean. Oral-B, the clean that never stops.
What if your buds could turn a public place into a private moment?
Helps navigate it. When she says something entitled, recognize its programming, not necessarily her core nature. Some women can be deprogrammed through experience and boundaries. Others are too far gone. Learning to distinguish between them saves years of misery. The respect requirement is non-negotiable. If she doesn't respect you, nothing else matters. Respect means appreciating your contribution, acknowledging your sacrifice, supporting your goals. Most modern women have been programmed to see male contribution as baseline expectation rather than something worthy of respect. The practical advice is harsh but necessary. Expect nothing. Appreciate anything. Assume she'll contribute minimally until proven otherwise. This protects you from disappointment while allowing pleasant surprise. It's not cynical. It's pattern recognition based on observable behavior. The relationship dynamics that work require clear leadership, not domination, leadership. Someone must make decisions, set direction, maintain standards. Modern women say they want equality but lose attraction to men who won't lead. They want to be passengers while complaining about the destination. The long-term view is sobering. Relationships with entitled, incompetent partners don't improve with time. They deteriorate. The entitlement increases, the contribution decreases, the respect evaporates. What starts as tolerable becomes insufferable. What begins as compromise ends as complete capitulation. The selection criteria must be ruthless. Can she cook? Will she clean? Does she contribute? Is she supportive? Does she appreciate? Is she accountable? These aren't preferences, they're requirements. Without tactics, without changing principles. The complementary roles that once made relationships work have been replaced with competition. Instead of each partner bringing different strengths, modern relationships become power struggles. Who does less housework? Who contributes less financially? Who gets their way more often? It's adversarial by design, and nobody wins. The accountability avoidance is perhaps the most frustrating aspect. Modern women have been taught that accountability equals oppression. Pointing out their failures is shaming. Expecting basic competence is unrealistic standards. Wanting reciprocal effort is transactional. They've been given infinite excuses for zero performance. I counsel men who've been so beaten down by this dynamic, they question their own sanity. They wonder if they're asking too much by expecting dinner occasionally. They feel guilty for wanting a clean home. They apologize for desiring intimacy with their own wives. The psychological damage from accepting unacceptable behavior is profound. The fairness illusion is what keeps men trapped. They believe if they just give more, she'll eventually reciprocate. If they're just patient enough, understanding enough, supportive enough, she'll become the partner they need. But it never happens. The more you give to an entitled person, the more they expect. It's a bottomless pit. The strength recognition is crucial. Despite what modern culture says, women are still attracted to strength. But they've been programmed to test it constantly, to push boundaries, to see if you'll break. The moment you show weakness, the attraction dies. You're expected to be an unmovable object against an unstoppable force of emotional chaos. The traditional skills that built civilizations, male provision and female nurturing, created stable families and societies. Now we have neither. Men still provide but get no appreciation. Women don't nurture but demand support. The social contract hasn't been renegotiated. It's been shredded, with men still held to the original terms.
What it really means when a woman hugs you, most men are blind to it. They feel a woman's arms wrap around them and think, oh, it's just a hug, a harmless, friendly embrace. But what if I told you? It's never just a hug. Every touch, every second. She lingers, every slight squeeze. It all means something. Women don't do things randomly. And if you're oblivious to these subtle cues, you're playing checkers while she's playing 4D chess. I'm James, and in this video, I'll reveal the 6 hidden psychological signals behind a woman's hug. Things most men completely miss. And if you think this is just about attraction, think again. Sometimes a hug is a test. Sometimes it's a power move. Sometimes it's a silent message to the world about who you are to her. The Stoics knew the power of perception. They understood that most men drift through life blind to what's happening around them, reacting instead of mastering their reality. If you don't train yourself to read between the lines, to see beyond the surface, you're at the mercy of forces you don't even recognize. And trust me, in today's world, ignorance comes at a price. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you won't look at a hug the same way again. Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe if you're ready to transform how you handle relationships. Using the power of Stoicism, every video is a step toward mastering your mindset and building stronger, more meaningful connections. 1, she's testing your confidence and you don't even realize it when a woman hugs you. She's not just showing affection, she's scanning you like a predator sizing up its prey. This isn't just a warm embrace, it's a silent test, a way to gauge what kind of man you really are. Most guys are completely blind to this, thinking a hug is just a hug. But women, they operate on a different level. The moment she wraps her arms around you, she's gathering intel, like a secret agent on a mission. She's analyzing your body language, your energy, your response. Do you freeze up like a deer and she's testing your confidence? Headlights, do you give an awkward, weak pat on her back like you're burring a baby? Or do you hold your ground? Embrace her with ease, like a man who knows his worth. It's the same principle used in high AK social interactions. Think about a job interview ever had, them casually offer you a glass of water. You might think it's just hospitality, but they're watching, seeing how you handle yourself, how steady your hands are, how composed you remain. It's a micro test just like her hug. And here's the brutal truth. A hesitant, unsure reaction signals weakness. Women are wired to pick up on hesitation. A man who second guesses himself, who stiffens up or overthinks a simple hug. That's a red flag in her subconscious, on the other hand. A man who's comfortable in his own skin, who embraces the moment with natural confidence, immediately sets himself apart. This is where the stoic mindset comes in. A stoic man doesn't react based on nerves or insecurity. He doesn't overthink or look for validation in how she responds. He simply is present, grounded, certain in himself. The moment you start seeking approval in something as small as a hug, you've already lost. She's taking mental notes, and whether you realize it or not, that hug has already told her more about you than words ever could, too. She's checking your emotional availability without you even realizing it. This is where things take a deeper turn. A hug isn't just about physical contact. It's an emotional scan, a silent test to measure what kind of man you are beneath the surface. Women are masters at sensing energy. And in those few seconds of contact, she's feeling you out in ways most men never even consider. Think of it like knocking on a wall to see if it's solid or hollow. When she wraps her arms around you, she's not just embracing you, she's testing you. Are you emotionally grounded, or is there an emptiness beneath the surface? Do you exude warmth and presence, or does your energy feel cold and distant? Are you fully in the moment, or does your body feel there while your mind is somewhere else? Does your hug carry a sense of strength and control, or does it feel hesitant, unsure? She can tell. Women have an almost supernatural ability to read between the lines, to feel out what words can express in a matter of seconds. She's picking up on details you might not even realize. You're giving away your posture, your grip, the way breathing shifts. Every micro detail feeds into her assessment of you. And here's the brutal truth. If you feel empty, distracted, or emotionally closed off, she will sense it instantly. She's checking your emotional availability. Most men think they can mask their insecurities with fake confidence. But a woman's intuition sees through the ACT. If you're carrying emotional baggage, if your mind is cluttered with stress, or if you've lost touch with your masculine core, your body language will betray you. This is where Saint ISM separates the strong from the weak. A stoic man doesn't let his emotions control him, but that doesn't mean he's emotionally unavailable. On the contrary, he is centered, present, and fully in control of himself. He isn't desperate for connection, nor is he walled off. He is simply grounded. He exists in the moment, not lost in the past or anxious about the future. When he hugs, it's not out of neediness or obligation. It's because he chooses to engage, and women feel that they respect it. They're drawn to it. At the end of the day, a hug is more than just a simple gesture. It's a silent conversation. And if you don't know what you're communicating, you're already at a disadvantage. 3, she's setting the stage for physical connection on her terms. This is a big one, and most guys completely overlook it when a woman initiates a hug. She's not just being friendly. She's not just greeting you. She's taking control of the physical dynamic between you. Think of it like hosting a party. She's inviting you into her space, but on her terms. She's the one setting the rules, dictating the flow, and deciding how much or how little happens. It's her subtle way of saying, I'm okay with being close to you, but make no mistake, I decide how this plays out. It's the same concept as when someone lets you into their home. They may trust you enough to step inside, but they still control the environment. When you sit, where you go, how long you stay. That hug, it's her creating a frame of control over physical connection. But here's where most men screw up. They don't recognize the unspoken boundaries. They either hold on too long, signaling desperation, or ovary eagerness, awkwardly released too soon, showing uncertainty and a lack of confidence, misread the moment entirely, either freezing up or becoming overly aggressive every little. Action you take in that brief moment tells her something about you, how you handle physical closeness, how aware you are of social dynamics, and most importantly, whether you're a man who naturally leads or one who blindly, she's setting the stage for physical connection follows. A weak man lets the moment dictate his response. He overthinks, second guesses himself, or tries to read her reaction, instead of being grounded in his own presence. A stoic man, on the other hand, doesn't seek validation through physical contact. He doesn't need it. He remains composed, unfazed, and entirely comfortable in his own skin. He respects her space, but he doesn't feel the urge to submit to her frame. Instead, he meets her energy with quiet confidence, maintaining the perfect balance between assertiveness and self-control. And trust me, women notice that they might not be able to explain it, but they feel it at the end of the day. This isn't just about a hug, it's a power dynamic, a subtle but critical moment where she's evaluating exactly what kind of man you are. Are you? It's where things get real if you're unsure of yourself. If you're nervous or awkward, she'll pick up on that. Your body is speaking even when your mouth stays silent. That stiffness, that hesitation, it speaks louder than any words you could say. It tells her you're not comfortable in your own skin, that you're still seeking approval, still unsure of your place in the world. Now contrast that with a man grounded in stoic principles. He doesn't seek validation from the hug, from her touch, or from anyone. His presence is steadfast and unshakable like a rock. He doesn't need to impress her or read into the moment, he just is. And the difference is immediate. The chemistry isn't forced, it's natural. His body and his energy are in perfect harmony. And she can feel that on a deeper, almost subconscious level. Remember, attraction isn't just a mental game, it's physical, it's raw, it's primal. She's not just hugging you, she's checking if there's something there that goes beyond just surface level attraction, and how you respond to her touch, to that physical connection, will determine the course of your potential connection. It's not all in your head. Sometimes it's all about how you feel in the moment, how your energy aligns with hers. The hug is her test and your true self. Not the version you're trying to sell will determine if that spark ignites or if it dies out before it even had a chance. A stoic man, he doesn't chase or force chemistry. He doesn't need to manufacture attraction. It is or it isn't. And he's okay with that, knowing full well that his worth doesn't depend on the outcome. That confidence, that detached yet self-assured presence is exactly what makes him magnetic. 5, she's sending a silent message to others. All right, now, we're getting into the real psychology of the situation when a woman hugs you in public. It's not just a moment of affection. It's a statement, a subtle but powerful signal to everyone watching. Think of it like a status update, a quiet declaration to the she's sending a silent message to others world that says, this person is part of my inner circle. He's someone important in my life, and I want you to know it, but here's where it gets deep, the hug itself. That's the fine print. That's where the true message is encoded. And trust me, she's not hugging you just to be nice. She's sending a message to the people around her without saying a word, a quick, casual UL hug. That's the signal of friendship. It's neutral, harmless, like a polite handshake, just enough to show you're on her radar, but nothing more. A longer, warmer embrace. Now we're talking. This could mean there's something more beneath the surface. It could be a deeper connection, or it could be her way of saying, this man is important to me without actually voicing it out loud. It's kind of like when a cat rubs against your leg. It's not just being cute. It's marking its territory. She's letting the world know without speaking a word that you're someone special in her life, whether she's consciously aware of it or not. Her body language is a silent declaration, and that's where you as a man need to understand the power dynamics at play. This isn't just about the hug itself. It's about how you carry yourself in that moment and how it fits into the bigger picture of your status in her world. If you're unsure, awkward, or clingy, the message gets lost. But if you stand strong, unshaken, and in control of the moment, the message is loud and clear. You belong from the Stoic perspective. This is where self-mastery comes in. A Stoic man doesn't need validation from the world around him. He doesn't seek approval or demand attention. The Stoic approach is about being content with who you are, Regardless of external validation, when that hug comes, you don't need to read into it because you already know your worth. The outside world's judgment doesn't define you. You are grounded in yourself, and that is what makes you powerful. Organically in the red pill world, you know that nothing comes easy, and you sure as hell don't wait for things to fall into your lap. You create your own moments, moments that last, that matter, that she'll remember and associate with you. A woman doesn't just give her heart away through a hug. She decides who and when she shares these pieces of herself with you. Control whether or not she wants to remember you in the same way. You remember her from a stoic perspective. This is where self-awareness and intentionality come into play. You don't get wrapped up in the emotional fluctuations of the moment, but you do understand that everything is a learning opportunity. When you're present in that hug, you're not thinking about how it makes you feel, you're focused on how you're making her feel. The stoic man understands that he's not seeking external validation, but that doesn't mean he ignores the signals life throws at him, this hug. It's not a random act, it's a moment of intentional connection. The stoic mind doesn't crave these moments, but it embraces them when they come. The key is to recognize that every action, every word, every interaction carries weight. That hug, that split second of physical contact, is a powerful signal. And for you, it's not just about what you're feeling in that moment, it's about how you stay grounded, how you use that moment to reinforce the man you want to be, not just for her, but for yourself. If you're the type of man who can take these moments and use them to strengthen your sense of self without letting them define you, you'll find that these time capsules will come with increasing frequency, and just like that M snapshot, the memory of how she feels in your presence will stick with her for far longer than you realize. The conclusion: hug is more than just a hug. It's a test, a snapshot, and a key part of how you position yourself in her mind and in her life. Make it count. Now that you've got a deeper understanding of what a woman's hug can really mean, let's take it a step further. If you found this insightful, you're going to want to check out the video popping up on your screen right now, 29 shocking psychological facts about women. Trust me, it's packed with more psychological insights that will make you see the world of women in a whole new light. So go ahead and click on that video. I'll see you over there. Oh, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening topics like this. Thanks for watching all.